This is the HP Pavilion Laptop 14. Specifically, it's the 14EC0040AU model, which is powered by AMD's Ryzen 5 5500U processor and can therefore be considered to be more of a mid-range laptop in terms of its specs, where it sits right beneath the Spectre and Envy series in HP's lineup. In this video, we'll be doing an unboxing of the said laptop, exploring its specs a little more in depth, before rounding off with some benchmark tests. Let's get started. First things first, the packaging. As you can see, the laptop comes in a very standard brown cardboard box, nothing fancy here at all. Looking at the label on one side here, we see a summary of the specs of this laptop, which I'll cover in depth later on in the video. And on the other side, some shipping and manufacturer info for this laptop. This laptop that I have is made in China and for better or for worse ships with Windows 11, as you can see from the sticker right here. With that, let's get started on the contents of the box. Let's have a look at what's included inside the box. First up, we have a product information paper envelope, which according to what's printed here, is in place of the usual plastic bag for environmental reasons, which is great. Moving on, we get the laptop securely packaged in a cardboard clamshell. And to round things up, we get a power cord with a male C5 connector. And naturally, this is accompanied by the power brick for the laptop. The power brick's model number is TPNDA16, and as you can see from the label, it is rated for 45 watts. And that pretty much sums up all the accessories that are included with the box. Opening up the product information paper envelope, we see that HP has included some setup instruction leaflets in multiple languages, starting with a copy in Chinese and the other copy in the English language. With the laptop out of the packaging, some first impressions, it feels really nicely built, probably owing to the fact that it uses a combination of aluminium and plastic for the construction of the laptop. Delving deeper into the aesthetics and construction of the laptop, it comes in what HP terms natural silver as its color, which is a pretty nice shade of silver, I must say. The bits that are made out of aluminium with a sandblasted finish are the laptop lid cover as well as the keyboard frame. The aluminium bits are nice and cool to the touch and go a long way in creating a premium feeling and looking product, especially at this price point. To add some contrast, the laptop screen's bezel is black in color and made out of plastic, which is somewhat understandable given that this isn't a high-end laptop after all. Now the bezel in itself is pretty thin, I'd say, and this definitely helps in reducing the overall size of the laptop. The laptop lid's hinge action feels pretty sturdy too, which again is a good indication of the quality of the laptop's construction. HP's designed the opening mechanism to be such that the keyboard section becomes a little more angled towards the user, which probably helps with ergonomics somewhat. And this is courtesy of the two rubber pads mounted strategically on the long edge of the laptop lid. The base of the laptop is made out of plastic, and to gain access to the motherboard, you'll need to remove these two strips of rubber to reveal more screws before the base will pop right off, giving you access to the RAM slots and the M.2 drive slot. I'd like to do a little shout out here to the fact that for the Pavilion Laptop 14, HP's built the laptop with the environment in mind, and according to their website, they've used ocean-bound plastics within the laptop, and the keyboard caps are made with post-consumer recycled plastic. I think these steps go a long way, and it's great to see major manufacturers doing their part to help the environment where they can with their new product releases. Now, in terms of connectivity, the Pavilion Laptop 14 comes with a USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-C connector which supports USB power delivery, DisplayPort 1.4 and HP's Sleep and Charge, which allows you to charge devices quickly even when the laptop is switched off. We also get a USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type-A port, a HDMI 2.0 port and the power brick connector. On the other side of the laptop, we get another USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type-A port and a 3.5mm audio jack. With that, here's a lowdown on the specs of this particular Pavilion Laptop 14 that I have, the 14EC0040AU. As mentioned earlier, this model is powered by AMD's Ryzen 5 5500U mobile processor, which in essence is a rebranded Ryzen 5 4600U based on the slightly older Zen 2 architecture. That being said, this processor is no pushover, being a 6-core part with 12 threads in total, and it has a base clock of 2.1 GHz with a max boost clock of 4 GHz. As an APU, it comes with built-in Radeon RX Vega 7 graphics, which is decent enough I suppose for some light gaming at reduced graphics settings at Full HD resolution. RAM-wise, the laptop comes with a healthy 16GB of Samsung DDR4 3200 RAMs running in dual-channel configuration, which is great considering that manufacturers can choose to skimp on costs and install only a single stick of RAM for a single-channel configuration, which could then impair performance. Primary storage is courtesy of a 512GB SSD, which appears to be an OEM version of Intel's 660p NVMe SSD, with the model number that you see on the screen, which according to Google has QLC NAND flash and support for the PCIe 3.0 X4 standard, thereby making this more of an entry-level SSD. In the display department, it has a 14-inch IPS Full HD LCD panel. Audio is powered by a Realtek codec with built-in B&O stereo speakers, and this is accompanied by Realtek's RTL8852AE chip, which provides support for Wi-Fi 6 2x2 and Bluetooth 5.2. The laptop also comes with a built-in 720p HD webcam with 0.9 megapixels, and it comes accompanied by dual-array digital microphones, a 3-cell 43Wh lithium-ion polymer battery with an advertised battery life of up to 10 hours and 15 minutes. To round up the specs, the Pavilion Laptop 14 weighs in at 1.41 kilograms, which makes it easy to handle even with one hand. One thing worth mentioning is the fact that HP has released the Pavilion Laptop 14 in a variety of different configurations for different countries. For example, as of April 2022 in Singapore, you can get the Pavilion Laptop 14 in 11th generation Intel Core i5 and i7 variants as well, some even with discrete Nvidia graphics. Now that we've got the laptop on, let's have a look at the specs of this LCD panel. As mentioned earlier, it has a Full HD that is 1920 by 1080 IPS screen, which has an anti-glare matte finish. HP also advertises the screen to have a maximum brightness of 250 nits. Viewing angles are pretty decent considering that this is an IPS screen after all. As mentioned earlier, the laptop comes shipped with Windows 11 out of the box, and it seems that the Windows installation is pretty light. I don't see too much in the way of bloatware with this laptop, as you can see while I'm scrolling through the apps section of the Windows control panel. I'm recording this part of the video using the built-in webcam and microphone, and as you can tell from the video quality, it's not great. It's probably due to the fact that HP has included a 0.9 megapixel webcam with this laptop, and the results really show, especially with how grainy the video footage is. In terms of the audio quality for the microphone, it's adequate I suppose, and probably will get the job done, especially if you're intending to do the occasional audio call or even video conference. But that being said, if you are required to look good and sound good, say maybe for business purposes, you might want to consider investing in an external webcam and microphone. Moving on to the audio experience, unfortunately, the built-in dual speakers do not really impress, despite their B&O branding. Sound quality is tinny with weak bass, and this is especially pronounced when you have the latest dance and pop tracks playing. At 100% volume, the speakers are quite loud and can easily fill a typical flat's living room. The typing experience with this laptop's keyboard is great. There's minimal flex, key travel is good, and the layout is perfect, at least for my purposes. Do note that the Pavilion Laptop 14 does come with a backlit keyboard option, but as you can see, this particular 14EC0040AU model does not have backlit keys as standard. One issue that I have though is that after prolonged use, the palm rest area on the right feels noticeably warmer as compared to the left, and this is possibly aggravated by the fact that the keyboard cover is made of aluminium, so you'll feel that the left palm rest area is cool to the touch while the right palm rest area is warm. Moving on to the touchpad, it comes with multi-touch gesture support, which allows you to scroll up and down and left to right with ease, and the click action feels soft and premium, which I really like. To round things off, HP's included a fingerprint reader, and it's pretty sensitive, at least from my experience, with unlocking the laptop via biometrics. And with that, let's get started on some quick benchmarks to assess the performance of this laptop. Starting with Cinebench R23, we see that on the multi-core test, the 14EC0040AU gets a score of 5,987, while for the single-core test, it clocks in at 1,174 points, which seems to be pretty much in the range of performance scores of other laptops with the Ryzen 5 5500U processor. Moving on to 3D Mark Basic, the laptop scores 1,228 points for the TimeSpy benchmark, a graphics score of 1,087, and a CPU score of 4,677. Rounding up with a SSD test, the scores from Crystal Diskmark seem to indicate that the included Intel 660p SSD is not really the best at this game, and I guess this probably has something to do with the fact that the 660p model is kind of long in the tooth now, having been launched in late 2018. I would probably consider upgrading this SSD to say a PCIe 4.0 part in the future, but to most mainstream users out there, this probably won't make too much of a difference in terms of everyday computing tasks. To conclude, I think that this model of the HP Pavilion Laptop 14, the 14EC0040AU, is a great mid-range laptop to get, especially given its build quality, the materials used for its construction, and of course, the laptop's performance. With its specs, you'll definitely be able to breeze through daily tasks and even do a spot of say photo editing, video editing, and even gaming for some older titles. Some downsides worth mentioning include the fact that the pre-installed Intel 660p SSD is a rather old model, and the issue where the right palm rest gets noticeably warmer than the left, especially when the laptop is under load, which might make for a slightly uncomfortable usage experience. In addition, while the laptop bears the B&O branding, the quality of the speakers is average at best, and I also do wish that HP had included a better quality webcam as part of the package. Now, I got this particular laptop from the HP Singapore official store on a local third-party e-commerce platform during a mega sale campaign and scored it for just 854 Singapore dollars or around $630 US for you international folks, which in my opinion represents excellent value, especially if you can get one at a promotional price like I did. And with that, thank you so much for watching. You guys know the drill. Boop the like button if you've enjoyed this video, get subscribed, and I'll catch you guys around the next time.